Diablo 4 is going to suck, huh?
There's a lot of players anxiously awaiting the release of Diablo 4 next year, and a lot of split opinions on the upcoming title. We've also seen a lot of interview footage released on IGN's YouTube channel that puts a very positive spin on the development of the game. But to some players, these interviews haven't necessarily eased their concerns as much as they've lowered their expectations for the game. I'd love to be all rainbows and butterflies,
this
boys,
guy's
but
cool.
it's time somebody tells it like it is. You might be wondering why we had to go to IGN's YouTube channel to find out all of this information, and why Blizzard didn't just put something out in the first place. Well, that's because at Blizzard, they've got 200 IQ. There's a concept in the marketing industry known as earned media, which basically means that Blizzard can rely on content creators to hype their game up and don't have to spend their own marketing money to do so. 200 IQ. Just like that time they had an open beta, but required everyone to sign a non-disclosure agreement to participate. What an amazing opportunity it was for content creators all around the world. They could spend hours on the game, gather their thoughts and opinions from high-level gameplay and critique, and then not talk about it. And then there's the respecking in Diablo 4. Remember the good old days of Diablo 2, back before there were respec tokens? The good old days where if you misclicked a skill point at level 75, you deleted your entire fucking character and started again? Well, they're bringing it back in D4. They'll let you respec at low levels for cheap, but if you misclick after level 50, you best be thinking about deleting that entire character and starting again.
They're not.
There's gonna be a point in time where you go
not.
like, oh, I would like to be a different barbarian, but it's too expensive to undo everything I've done. It's actually better for me to roll another barbarian and start a new one.
That's right. Delete that fucking barb and start over. We're making PvP a thing.
Is that clip out of context? I would, bro, I'd bet money that that clip is out of fucking context. It has to be.
In this game, and you know that the top duelers didn't mess their builds up. In Diablo 2, when your friends were done laughing at you for your stupid build, one of them might trade you a token to respect your character, but in D4, they know you don't have friends. And even if you did, they're not going to help you, because there's no trading in this game. People don't care about items and the value that they trade for in Diablo games or any games in general. That's nonsense. At Blizzard, they believe Diablo 3 was the greatest game in the franchise, so they're taking pages out of that game's book. The one where the butterfly kills Deckard Cain, in case you didn't remember which one it was. Soul-bound items, account-bound items. They're going to have it all in this game. Why would they make a fair and functional form of in-game trading in D4? You want in-game currency? Maybe you wanted an auction house that doesn't create a paywall. Fuck out of here. There's a rule in the industry known as the 80-20 rule, where you can solve 80% of a problem by doing 20% of the required work. In-game trading is difficult, so you know what? No trading. 80s.
Is that the 80? I think he's talking about the Pareto principle. I don't think that's explicitly what it says. I think it says that like 80% of work is done by 20% of people. Like generally that's what it means, right?
200 IQ. We're taking the baby out with a bathwater in D4. Adults are not to be trusted with freedom. Freedom to trade items, freedom to respec characters, or freedom to talk about this game. But maybe there's freedom to explore what they're calling an open world. Remember Breath of the Wild and how good that open world was? A world that was truly open, allowing players to go to the final boss within minutes if they felt froggy enough, or if they were a seasoned player. Do you remember how good that freedom felt? Well, forget it. Nintendo is for babies, and freedom is for babies. D4 is a real open world where you are free to explore places that Blizzard allows you to. You can discover overrun cities and conquer them, just as long as you've made it that far in the storyline and are allowed to access that part of the world. You can discover monsters in this open world with chains around their wrists, ready to wrap them around a player and hold their hand. Monsters that are so rich from stepping all over players that they puke gold, with blatant disregard as to whether or not they're even connecting with players anymore. Blizzard released Diablo 2.
Dude, this guy is like trying really hard to hate Diablo 4. Jesus. Like even I'm kind of reserved about Diablo 4. I'm trying not to get excited, but this guy is like really trying to hate Diablo 4.
Resurrected in an attempt to shut players up last year, but it backfired. It was the best game released in the franchise in the last 20 years. The one before that was the original Diablo 2. You think they'd take pages out of that game's book, but you're wrong. It's time for something new. And by new, I mean no.
Dude, this is maybe a nuclear take about Diablo 2. Diablo 2, when it came out back like in what, 1999 or 2000, Diablo 2 was the best game in the world. Like it was fucking revolutionary. Diablo 2 was fucking goated. That being said, these days, if you go back and try to play Diablo 2, it's like, it's okay. It's you get like maybe 12 hours of gameplay and then it's done. And you don't like it didn't. So my point is like Diablo 2 did not really like hold up that well. 20 years later, over 20 years later, Diablo 2 does not really hold up that well. There's not a lot of replayability. There's not a lot to do. You do it once and then you're kind of done and then that's it. Of course, some people want to do that over and over and over again. There's always going to be those people, but Diablo 2, like, it was good for the day back then, but these days I feel like it's not that great, or at least it didn't hold up at least.
No runes, no rune words, no trading, no respecking, no freedom. It's all online. So no single player, no modding. All of the things you loved about your favorite Diablo games, trash them. They're committing to make.
I'm pretty sure they are having rune words in Diablo 4 also. Like, I'm pretty sure they have said they are going to have rune words.
Continuous content to add to the game each season in an attempt to bring people back, like in D3, the best game in the franchise. Now darker. One of the biggest draws to the Diablo
we can watch
franchise, especially with Diablo 2, has always been that it's felt like the Wild West. And yes, that does come with some drawbacks. But the more freedom that you give to players, the more immersed they feel in the game. Don't make it absolutely unaffordable to fix your character at a high level when you finally learn how to play.
I will eat my own dick if they do this. Dude, I would bet money that clip is out of context. The clip that it's going to be too expensive to respec, and so it's better just to make a new character. I will eat my dick if that ends up being the case. There's no fucking way. That clip has to be out of context.
The game and force a player to start over. Don't restrict a player's ability to trade away the nasty items that they find. Yes, indeed, if you have free trade in a game, I know what you're thinking. It does lead to bots. If you have bots in your game, it's a sign that your game is valuable. You need to get better at banning those.
Okay, we're trolling
bots, at catching those bots, at securing your own servers and games. People make the argument that having free trade leads to pay to win, and that's because they're confused. A pay to win game is something like Diablo Immortal, where you literally can't trade your items away. You have to buy them from the game and then hope that you get what you want. And if you're ever doing PvP in that game, you certainly need the best items. That one is certainly pay to win. Just because an item has value outside of the game doesn't necessarily mean that it's pay to win. The million forum gold sin that we talked about in literally the last video, days are kicked down to a budget version. It is still kicking ass in the DFC at the highest level.
Dude, you know what I fucking hate about Diablo 2? Is this meta. Like, this is so fucking cringe. I actually fucking hate the charm meta. I fucking hate this. This is so annoying and cringe and dumb.
Of competition. I don't believe the answer to the whole pay to win argument that people jump behind like they have some sort of moral righteous ground on the internet is by getting rid of trading altogether. Instead, it involves good game design where you don't base the entire skill or power of your character around items, but instead the way it's built and the skill level of the player. I know that's easy to say and a lot harder to design, but someone's got to say it.
I am very fucking reserved about Diablo 4. I'm like, with intent, I'm not getting excited. And it's not because they've said anything bad about Diablo 4. It's because I think Blizzard hasn't made a blockbuster game in like a decade. That's why I'm reserved, because I don't know if they still have the fucking magic sauce back in the kitchen. I don't know if they can do it. So that's why I am reserved. That being said, I think like most of his big complaints here are probably not actually issues in the first place. Here's a reaction to that. Let me see here.
What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dabrunski here.
Yo, what is with Diablo players and wearing sunglasses indoors? Can we just comment this? Why do these Diablo players wear sunglasses inside?
Today's video is going to be a little bit different than my standard typical upload. I want to essentially play devil's advocate to Cooley's recently uploaded video claiming Diablo 4 will be dead upon arrival. He made several well-articulated points. Again, I'll have his full video linked in the description below, essentially claiming D4 will be dead upon arrival. And I think a lot of them are blatant assumptions, although with that being said, there is one that I actually do agree with. So I do want to acknowledge it's important to sort of voice every different type of opinion, whether it's unlimited free trading, restricted trading, etc., to get the best end result for a game. I do think it's important to make sure everybody's voice is heard. But with that being said, I really couldn't stop myself from making this video because I think a lot of the assumptions are just blatantly wrong. So with that being said, let's jump in. So let's start off
Okay.
with blatant assumption number 1, which, by the way, before we even jump into this video, how the do you record videos with sunglasses on, Cooley? I literally had to re-record
True.
my intro like 10 times. So kudos to you, man. I don't know how you actually pull it off. But blatant assumption number 1.
You know what it is? If you wear sunglasses, people can't tell if you're reading a script, right? Because when you're recording a video, you want to like try to make eye contact with the camera. But if you're wearing glasses, you can have your notepad up right here and you can straight up read the script and then no one knows, right? And so you don't have to focus on making eye contact with the webcam. Maybe that's the meta.
1 is assuming that once you hit a certain level that a single skill respec means that you need to completely invest in an entire new character.
And then there's the respecking in Diablo 4. Remember the good old days of Diablo 2, back before there were respec tokens? The good old days where if you misclicked a skill point at level 75, you deleted your entire fucking character and started again?
I would just play the scuffed character, by the way. But I was also like a teenager, so maybe I just didn't give enough of a fuck.
Well, they're bringing it back in D4. They'll let you respec at low levels for cheap. But if you misclick after level 50, you best be thinking about deleting that entire character.
I think it's a little disingenuous to insinuate that a single click once you reach a specific level, a misclick per se for a different skill that you didn't actually intend on investing in, means that you brick the entire character. At least that's not my sort of takeaway from listening to what Rod actually said.
There's going to be a point in time where you go like, oh, I would like to be a different barbarian, but it's too expensive to undo everything I've done. It's actually better for me to roll another barbarian and start a new one.
In my opinion, Rod is saying, again, now this is making a blatant assumption, so feel free to call me out if you disagree, but I'm sort of seeing this as, say you invest 60 skill points into Whirlwind, you make it to the end game, you start investing points in your Paragon board, you've leveled up some glyphs, you've inserted them, and then you decide, hey, maybe I don't want to play Whirlwind, I want to play Leap Slam. So respecking your entire Paragon board and all the way from the top of your skill tree to the bottom to those early investment skills and starting over, at that point it probably doesn't make sense, because if you look at the actual screen footage of respecking, it's early on 1 gold and that character actually has 350,000 gold. I can't see it progressing to the point where a single misclick means that you have to actually make an entire new character.
Maybe the way it works is you have to respec each individual talent point. Like you don't, you know, get all of your talent points back at once. You respec each point as an individual. And so, yeah, so maybe it's like if you're trying to respec 100 talent points, it's really fucking expensive. But if you want to respec 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, then it's like not that big of a deal, right? I don't know. It's like PoE. Dude, I should play PoE. I've never played PoE. We should do like a PoE week or something where every day we go hard in PoE for 7 days or something, because I haven't played PoE. I probably should play PoE.
You have to
at some
actually
point.
make an entire new character. I think it's safe to say that if you want to respec 50 skills once you're level 80 and you're well into the Paragon board system, that might not be feasible, but there's a big difference between the two. At least there is, in my opinion. Blatant
Average Diablo player. Well, you know what I see? A bunch of patriots. I see a bunch of red-blooded American Trump voting patriots, gun owning, truck driving patriots. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Diablo 4, get hype.
assumption number 2. There will be no trading whatsoever in Diablo 4.
In-game trading is difficult, so you know what? No trading. 80-0, 200 IQ.
I don't remember this actually specifically being said. It is difficult to sort of keep track of every single quarterly blog post and how it progresses, these IGN interviews and little snippets that you see on Reddit or Twitter, but the earliest that I can recall of any sort of restricted form of trading being mentioned was during BlizzCon, when they stated that there would be different types of items, some that could be traded a limited amount of times, some that were single trade, and then some that could not be traded at all. So essentially a mixture of the two.
Okay.
Kind of similar to the respec system. We're not going with hard choices only. You're not able to respec, but we're not going willy-nilly. You can respec at any time. It's sort of like a hybrid between the two.
Dude, I have a crazy nuclear take. You know how in 2012 or 2011, when Diablo 3 came out, they had the real money auction house? Players obviously really disliked that. They fucking revolted against that, and they ended up revolting against the real money auction house, and they took it out of the game. The real money auction house in Diablo 3 was 20 years ahead of its time. By the year 2030, real money auction houses and things like that, that's going to be meta. Every game, I guarantee, every game is going to have real money auction house. Every game is going to have fucking in-game purchasable NFTs. We're just not there yet. Blizzard, you were 20 years too early, but we will get there, Blizzard.
I would assume that the team is taking a similar direction with trade, because that has never been specifically mentioned. So I don't know where we get that claim of everything is soul-bound, account-based items only with zero trading. Blatant assumption number 3. Unrestricted free trading equals no form of real money trading or pay to win.
People make the argument that having free trade leads to pay to win, and that's because they're confused. A pay to win game is something like Diablo Immortal, where you literally can't trade your items away. You have to buy them from the game and then hope that you get what you want. And if you're...
I don't know. I would say Diablo 2 is like loosely pay to win. You can go to a third-party site. You can buy all the fucking gear you want. Within 10 minutes, you can have full BIS gear if you have the real-life money to do it. It's not like explicitly pay to win, but it's like loosely pay to win, right? Because at least my criteria for like what is straight up pay to win is this service being offered in game by the game developer. So real money auction house in Diablo 3, pay to win. Diablo 2, where you can go to a third-party site and you can buy gear and you might get banned or you might not. It's like kind of pay to win, but like not explicitly pay to win, right? In the same way that retail WoW, I would say, is explicitly pay to win because you can buy WoW token directly. It's facilitated in the game client. The game developer is offering that service to you. I would say it's explicitly pay to win. Whereas with Classic Wrath or Classic Vanilla, whatever, if you want, you can go to a third-party site and you can buy gold and you might get banned or you might not. It's like kind of gray zone pay to win.
If you're ever doing PvP in that game, you certainly need the best items. That one is certainly pay to win. Just because an item has value outside of the game doesn't necessarily mean that it's pay to win.
This is just entirely false, and I do want to point out that I agree entirely with this comparison of Diablo Immortal to Diablo 2 Resurrected, not being able to actually trade items, having to purchase them, and being required to have them to excel in PvP, versus, I'm sure, a not top tier, but high-end Ghost can still do very well in PvP. Sure, that is true, but you can at any point go onto any real money trading website and purchase any item in Diablo 2 Resurrected. If you go to some of the YouTube live streams of Asian Diablo 2 streamers, they are triggering DiabloCon events from SOJs that have been sold from real money trading websites in Asia. With no restriction on trading, there is always going to be some
They're streaming
form of service, botting, or item sales in a game. You just cannot get around it whatsoever. I think it really just boils down to the degree of pay to win element with unrestricted trading. So at the start of a ladder, the first person that spends, I don't know, 20,000 forum gold to get the first Jaw and Burn, to make Enigma, to get their Hammerton going, does have a competitive advantage. That's really only like up to the initial race to 99, and then past that, there's not really like a massive ability to pay to outright beat other people. You're sort of, I guess, in essence, kind of paying for convenience versus paying to win. With that being said, some of the screenshots of that Gosin, like Shadow Discipline Skiller with 45 to life, 3 2020s, that again is all stuff that has been purchased through forum gold and botting. Nobody actually has like a full character like that. Those type of items, I should say, don't see the light of day if it wasn't for botting. Now, with that being said, big disclaimer here, I actually don't really
What if he's the luckiest guy in the
too
world?
much if people use forum gold or real money trading websites. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I just don't care too much about these sort of topics, or I don't feel like arguing with people on forums. I don't really care if you do purchase items early on to, get a little bit better in Diablo 2. I don't actually care. Like, I have taken or accepted Enigma donations like 3 or 4 weeks into a ladder with my character to have some fun. So I would be a hypocrite if I outright denounced it and just shamed people.
Well, hold up, bro. No. Listen, being a streamer and having your viewers give you free shit, like, that's not pay to win. That's just, you being cool and popular. It's different. Like, it's a different thing. Like, you're not paying for that. You're just people like you. That's just people just decide they like you and they give you free shit. Easy clap.
For using D2JS.
Don't feel bad about that,
I just really don't
Debrunski.
care. But to insinuate that unrestricted trading does not...
Dude, it's kind of like... It's kind of like imagine you're like Tom Cruise and you have like a net worth of like $500 million and you're at the bar getting a drink and some guy comes up, he's like, dude, are you Tom Cruise? Bro, I'm a big fan. I loved you in Top Gun. Can I buy you a drink? And it's like, Tom Cruise has like a net worth of $500 million, and this guy is like an average dude. It's like, no, bro, Tom Cruise should buy you a drink, dude.
Have a form of pay to win like that. Pay to
Celebrity
win
privilege.
real money trading websites will be up and running shortly after Diablo 4. I will admit that I'm wrong if that's not the case, but if Diablo 4 is completely unrestricted trading, you will see that type of real money trading shortly after the launch of the game. So where do I close off this video? Well, I would like to state that I don't hate Cooley. Just because I heavily disagree with some of his points doesn't mean that I don't think he's entitled to have his opinion about Diablo 4. And I do agree with a couple of his points, which I do want to mention. He somewhat restricted open world access via unlocking like certain areas once you reach check marks along the quest line. It would be cool to see that sort of open a little bit more. I do agree that a single player option would be really a welcomed experience as well, although that is probably not going to happen.
Do that.
And I do think it's fair to be cautiously optimistic about Diablo 4.
I mean, like, okay, so the complaint is like that it's not open world enough. How long is the playthrough going to be? Like, how long is it gonna take to beat this game solo? To beat the story mode, like 30 hours or something? I don't know.
Because let's face it, the last two Diablo-related titles, one was a success, in my opinion, Diablo 2 Resurrected, and one was a flop, Diablo Immortal. So I definitely think it's fair to express concerns that you may have about Diablo 4, but I also don't like it when people just make blanket assumptions about the state of the game when we haven't even actually had an open beta yet. Like, I'm sure that's going to happen. That was another criticism about the closed beta. I'm sure at some point they're going to have an open beta. They did with Diablo 2 Resurrected. They did with Diablo Immortal. Like, that is coming down the pipeline. So
Diablo Immortal isn't even allowed in my country. You live in a good country, Swag. You live in a good country, bro. It should games that are as predatory as Diablo Immortal should not be legal. That's how I feel.
I don't think it's all doom and gloom, guys. But again, let me know in the comment section below if you guys agree, disagree, you think I'm entirely wrong, you think Cooley's points were right, whatever. Any feedback is welcome. Other than that, guys, hopefully, you enjoy the video. I'll catch you on my next video or live stream. Peace out.
Yo, peace out. Okay, let me link his response. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff is too early. I think a lot of the stuff is like just kind of assuming. I understand it's so tempting just to like always want to assume the worst when it comes to Blizzard products, because oftentimes you do end up kind of getting the worst, but you shouldn't assume. You should wait. You should wait until they actually go ahead and announce the worst. Let them at least announce that it is going to be the worst.